All right, Vikings Nation, let me throw a name at you that nobody is really talking about enough. Defensive tackle. Yeah, I know, it doesn't sound sexy. It's not a quarterback, it's not a corner, it's not a wide receiver. But hear me out. The Minnesota Vikings could realistically use their first-round pick at number 18 on a defensive tackle in the 2026 NFL Draft. And honestly, it might be one of the smartest moves they can make. Today, we're going to break down why DT is absolutely on the table, how the cap situation plays into it, and 3 realistic prospects who could be wearing purple next season. But before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and help us reach our goal of 4,000 subscribers. If you want real Vikings analysis, you're in the right place. Let's talk defense. Here's a wild stat to start with. The Vikings have not drafted a defensive tackle in the first round or even the first 3 rounds since 2013 when they took Sharif Floyd. That's over a decade ago. Now, on paper, defensive tackle doesn't look like a huge need right now. Minnesota still has Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, Jalen Redmond, Levi Drake Rodriguez, plus depth guys like Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins and Taki Taimani. But here's the reality. It's very unlikely that both Allen and Hargrave are on this roster come spring. They're expensive, they're aging, and their 2025 production didn't fully justify their cap hits. If one of them goes, and especially if it's Hargrave, suddenly this room looks a lot thinner. Let's not forget something important. In 2024, the Vikings had an elite run defense. Then they traded Harrison Phillips. And in 2025, Minnesota dropped to 14th in opponent EPA per rush. That's not bad, but it's not dominant. And if you want to win in January, you need to control the line of scrimmage. That's where a first-round defensive tackle comes in. Not just to fill snaps, but to raise the floor and the ceiling of this defense. Let's start with my favorite fit, Caden McDonald, Ohio State. 6'3", 326 pounds, turns 22 in March. 2025 stats: 65 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 86.5 PFF grade, 91.2 PFF run defense grade, best in the country among DTs. This dude was dominant. McDonald lives in the backfield against the run. Quick get off, insane play strength, and he just erases lanes. And here's the thing, he's not useless as a pass rusher either. If the Vikings want to protect their linebackers and get back to being elite against the run, this is your guy. Blake Cashman would have the time of his life playing behind him. Next up, Peter Woods. This is the traits bet. 6'3", 310 pounds, turns 21 in March. 2025 stats: 30 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 72.2 PFF grade. Now, those numbers don't jump off the screen, and that's why his stock has slipped. But don't forget, coming into the season, Woods was seen as a top 10, even top 5 talent. As a freshman and sophomore, he was disruptive, explosive, and violent at the point of attack. If he's still there at 18, the Vikings could absolutely bet on the upside and assume 2025 was just a down year. As a 3 technique in Brian Flores' scheme, that could be scary. Now let's talk about the wild card. Caleb Banks, Florida. 6'5", 330 pounds, turns 23 in March. Missed most of 2025 with a foot injury. 2024 stats: 21 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 29.5 pressures, 73.0 PFF grade. At 330 pounds, putting up those pass rush numbers is impressive. Banks has rare size and athletic traits, but the medicals and technique questions are real. He could go late first, he could slip into day 2. But if the Vikings believe in their coaching staff and medical evaluations, he's a high upside swing. So here's my honest opinion. Cornerback is still in play. Quarterback conversations aren't going away. But defensive tackle at number 18 is very real. The cap situation, the aging veterans, and the slight dip in run defense all point in that direction. This might be finally the year the Vikings invest premium draft capital in the trenches again. Now, I want to hear from you, Vikings Nation. Would you be okay with a DT at pick 18? Which prospect do you like the most? Or do you want Minnesota to go cornerback instead? Drop your thoughts in the comments. So, Vikings Nation, now we've got some news that should make every Vikings fan stop scrolling right now. Because yes, Brian Flores is officially on the radar for another head coaching job, and this time it's with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we get into what this could mean for the future of the Vikings defense, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and help us reach our goal of 4,000 subscribers. This channel is growing because of you, Vikings fans, and I truly appreciate every single one of you. Now let's talk about why this Brian Flores situation matters way more than people think. According to ESPN insider Adam Schefter, the Steelers are scheduled to meet with Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores to discuss their head coaching vacancy. And let's remember the context here. It's been just 6 days since Mike Tomlin stepped down as the Steelers head coach, which alone is shocking, and Pittsburgh is already casting a wide net. They've been linked to names like Ejiro Evero, Mike McCarthy, and now Brian Flores. And honestly, from a Steelers perspective, this makes a lot of sense. Brian Flores isn't just some hot coordinator who popped up overnight. This guy spent 15 years with the New England Patriots from 2004 to 2018, learning directly under Bill Belichick. He coached defense, linebackers, scouting, you name it. Then he became the Miami Dolphins head coach from 2019 to 2021, where he posted back-to-back winning seasons and turned that defense into one of the most aggressive units in the league. And Vikings fans, you've seen it with your own eyes. Since Flores arrived in Minnesota in 2023, this defense completely changed its identity. One of the highest blitz rates in the NFL, massive jump in takeaways, pressure packages that confused elite quarterbacks, a defense that played with attitude. This unit wasn't perfect, but it was aggressive, creative, and fearless, something we hadn't consistently seen in years. Now here's the part that really makes this interesting. Brian Flores already has history with the Steelers. In 2022, he was Pittsburgh's linebackers coach and senior defensive assistant. He knows the building, he knows the culture, and that culture? Defense first, physical, no excuses. If the Steelers want to reset their identity post-Tomlin, Flores fits that mold almost perfectly. And this is where the concern kicks in for us, because if Flores leaves, the Vikings don't just lose a coordinator. They lose the architect of their defensive aggression, a coach players clearly respond to, a scheme that maximizes talent instead of hiding it. Replacing that is not easy. Kevin O'Connell has done a great job building this team's culture, but losing Flores would put real pressure on the front office to get the next defensive hire absolutely right. At the same time though, let's be real. If Flores gets another head coaching job, it means the Vikings helped restore his reputation as one of the best defensive minds in football. That matters. So, Vikings fans, I want to hear from you. Do you think Brian Flores is gone after this interview? Would losing him set the defense back? Or do you trust Kevin O'Connell to find the next answer? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and help us hit that 4,000 subscriber milestone. This is Report Vikings, made by a fan for the fans. This is Victor, and as always, Skol.